Welcome to Center Women's new media series, Peaks. We're so grateful that you joined us again today, and I'm so excited to have our guest today. Her name is Summer Goodrich, so thank you for being here with us today.
I have been so excited to come and speak and be part of your amazing series.
Oh, thank you so much, Jess. We're so grateful that you said yes, because you have, I know, so many peaks to share, but we narrowed it down to just one peak today. And within that one peak, there might be several peaks. So again, we're so grateful that you're here. And ladies, if you haven't had a chance, go back and watch our other videos that we've posted already on podcast and YouTube. And so without further ado, Summer, go ahead, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself so the ladies can kind of get to know you a little bit.
Sure. I consider myself a native Arizonian. I moved here about when I was 2, and 42 years now. I had a little short stint. I worked in Washington, D.C. between undergrad and grad school, but this is
home.
This is home. I am one who loves the heat.
Okay, that's
and
awesome.
I've been married for almost 18 years. I have 2 children. It's both amazing, a 14 and 11-year-old, so all sorts of emotions in our house during this time.
Yes,
but
almost 2 teenagers.
yes, it's amazing. I love it.
How fun. That's fun. And so you like the heat, huh?
I love the heat.
Even when it's 114?
I like being hot much better than being cold.
Yes.
I despise being cold.
Yes, that is true. I do like being warm as well. I grew up in Illinois, so I don't like
that
it
is freezing.
So, yes, it was cold, so I'd rather be here. Yeah. So again, we're so glad that you're here with us today. So why don't we dive right into the peak that you wanted to share with us today?
Yes, my peak was having an amazing inspiration on really avoiding a valley. My business, let me start there.
Yeah.
This was saving my family's business, really, is what it was. My parents started a store 42 years ago.
Wow.
So long. So I literally have grown up behind this counter.
Okay.
Like, I was in my little wheelie cart. Like, I have lived here. All of my nieces and nephews have worked here. My siblings, my friends. Like, this is my love. I did fight my fate for a while. When my parents told me when I was like 14, this will be yours when you grow up, I started crying. Like, I don't want to work here. So I went to college. I worked in D.C. because I was like, I'm going to be into politics. And I was like, you know how I'll be influenced? I will go get a law degree. And so I have a law degree. I practiced law. I've tried politics. And I decided that was miserable for me. Okay. And now I sell ribbon and make wreaths, and I could not be happier.
Oh my gosh, so full circle.
Yes, so this store really is like deep into my heart.
Yes, I would say so.
My mom and I were very best friends. We worked together all day at the store, but we would call each other before we would go. And then as soon as we'd get home, we'd call each other with more business ideas. Like,
oh, wow.
My best friend. But she passed away about 6 years ago.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, still emotional.
Yeah,
but
for
I appreciate
sure.
that.
Yeah.
So when I would go into our store, it was like, my mom is still here with me, and I would, of course, still talk to her when trying to make business decisions, and it was so overwhelming for me to take it. But this was her, and I was going to make it thrive. So I was working there, and it had been like maybe 2 or 3 years, and I was getting the hang of being, you know, the in-charge head. And I kept getting this feeling like, it's time to close this. I was like, no. I've lost my mom once. I'm not doing this again.
Okay.
But I just kept getting this feeling like, no, it's time to close it and go take it online. We are done with the brick-and-mortar.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to try a new version of it. But I don't know anything about going online. And we have like 3,000 different items.
Wow.
It was not an easy task. And I had a very strong emotional bond to this place.
Yes, of course, because you had grown up there.
Yes.
And your best friend worked there with you.
Yes.
Yes.
So it was more than just a business.
Yes.
But over and over. So, you know, and for things, it's like, it's a still small voice that will tell you.
Yep.
Well, that voice speaks directly to my stomach. And I kept getting this feeling like, this is it. And every time I was like, no, I'd start to get a little nauseous or, you know, whatever. That's how my feelings are all in my...
Scary, fear, can't do this.
So I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. There is no fighting it anymore. I'm going to trust, and it will all work out, right? I'm going like, this is going to be okay. So we had a huge going out of business sale, and the way we were blessed was amazing, and it gave me the money to, you know, do my website. But what the true peak was We closed our last day of being open was on December 15th. At the beginning of March, COVID hit. I would have gone bankrupt instead of having the blessings to go online. Like, I'm so teary. Like, this was, you get so many answers to prayers, but there for me have been like 2 or 3 that are life-altering answers. And this was one of those for me.
Wow.
Because I listened and I jumped off that cliff.
Yes.
I still get to carry on my mom's name. I still get to bless people with employment. Otherwise, not being open for those 6 months, 9 months, there would be nothing.
Right.
I really would have had to close everything and just declared business bankruptcy.
Right. And at that time, because it was the pandemic, you couldn't have a closing out sale. Nobody would have came.
Nobody
would have come. And yeah. So,
and you still have to pay that $4,000 a month rent. And I'm like, I don't have that laying around.
Right. Wow. That's just amazing how God worked through all of that.
Amazing. It blessed my dad where he could actually retire. He's almost 80 and he lives with us. But now he can have a life of being with his grandkids and everything. Like, so many blessings came from just following that one prompting.
Yeah. So how long do you think it was that the Lord was prompting you to do this?
That's a great question. I may have closed my ears for about 6 to 12 months.
but that's okay.
It is, because he just kept getting louder, like, no, now.
Right.
It needs to be now.
Right. And so I think he knows us so well. He knows what we need, right? And we have trust and faith in him. And so he knew how long it was going to take you to say yes. So he started early, prompting you.
1,000%.
Yeah, so I think we need to embrace that when we finally get to that point and not look back and feel guilty about it, because that's what Satan wants us to do. Like, why didn't I do, no, God's perfect timing. And so we have to embrace that it was a peak, that can't go back and I should have listened the first month. Right. Maybe not, because maybe things wouldn't have worked out, because God knew how long it would take you to go through that grieving process and that giving up process of the brick and mortar.
Yes.
And so it was perfect timing that you said yes.
Yes.
And that he turned around and was able to bless you in March with having that online virtual store, because then everybody was shopping virtually.
It was like our best year ever. But it is so true, because he knows that even though in my heart, the first time he tells me I want to be all in,
yes, we
but
do.
the rest of me is a little hesitant. And he's like, it's okay. I've got you. Just listen. I love you. I'm going to remind you again.
Yep.
I'm gonna get a little firmer now.
Yes, yes.
But he's like, hey, I'm not going to give up on you.
Right.
Just keep listening.
Right. And so because you had never done the online stuff, and so jumping, I guess, into something, and what I hear you saying is you were fearful because you had uncertain and not feeling that you were equipped to do online,
Yes.
right? But how did God bring people in your life, or how did he help you get past that?
He brought the biggest blessing into my life is a woman named Sharon. She is usually the most timid, doesn't want to talk to people, don't even... Like, when we're going to go to the restaurant, I have to map it out for her, come outside. But she walked into my store one day when I still had the brick and mortar, and she's like, you need to hire me, and would not leave me alone. Like, you're going to hire me, and you're going to love me. And I was like, okay. So that was about maybe 4 years before. But that gave her time, and she learned everything there was to learn about our business. She learned our bows, our wreaths, and she's the one who'd be like, I'll take your pictures. I'll get it all. She now is my online advertiser. She is the one who makes all my listings. She is my customer service. She is everything. And now she is a single mom, and together we are like the most amazing team. Without her, this there wouldn't be a online store.
Wow. So that was 4 years ago?
Yes.
So even before any of this.
Before any of this, God was giving her time to learn it, and she is now like my dearest, bestest friend.
Wow. That is simply amazing, that through all of this, God brought somebody to be your partner like you were the partner with your mom.
Yes, that is exactly who she is to my heart.
Wow.
Yes, and I told her, I was like, hey, we're going to make this, and when we become big, we are just going to keep hiring women and moms, and that was my whole goal. And then again, God's like, well, hold on there.
He had Another
He's like,
idea.
you do have this business to help people, but I have a stay-at-home dad who needs you.
Really? So tell us about that.
So I have this amazing neighbor who is a stay-at-home dad, and his daughter is getting older, and he's like, I feel like I don't have a purpose anymore. I'm not helping contribute. I am kind of lost. And I was like, well, I need a shipping manager.
Wow.
And so what I love about this is that we just can work with the schedule. God has given us this flexibility of online, which I was like, hey, if your daughter's sick, you can be home, but come in when you can. And he just feels like he has a purpose now, you know? Because so many times when we're at home, which I have been, your kid is getting older and you're just you're lost.
Right, yeah. And you want to connect. You want those relationships because,
Yes.
God has built us to be relational. And so he really wants us to get out there and have relationships with people and our colleagues and people that we work with for sure.
Yes, because all alone, the sadness and the darkness
Yes.
builds, and God does not want that for
No,
us.
he does not. So, wow, that is so awesome. You're thinking women, 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 and God's like, no, no, no.
Listen to this again.
Yes. But what I love to hear too is that your brain was still expanding with ideas, and you were throwing those ideas out to God. And I think that's what he expects us to do, because sometimes we just sit and wait, and that's good. There's time for us to sit and be still, but we also, he's created us to be creative.
Yes.
And so he wants us to throw ideas out there to him and start moving, but then he's going to say, well, maybe this way or that way. But he'll direct our steps once we start moving forward, as long as we're prayerful.
Yes.
And in his word, knowing where he wants to take us.
Yes, I'm like, God, the whole reason I still have this business is because I want to bless people. I know how hard it is to find a schedule that is flexible for parents and all of these things. And I want this to keep going so I can just keep bringing more and more people in, because God has blessed me. I want to be flexible and bless others who just need that outlet.
Right. That's amazing. And then you said your father is living with you.
Yes.
And I bet it just delights him that the business is still thriving.
Yes, it is still there. It is still going after. It's their legacy,
Yes.
And he still participates when I have a delivery to someone's house who lives nearby. He is my delivery boy.
Oh,
It's so fun.
Yeah, so he still has purpose too.
He is. He has still purpose. He's still involved in the business. I still ask him questions, and he just smiles and nods.
Oh, that is awesome. So are you
Yes.
running it out of your home, or do you?
So I have like 10 storage units right now.
Oh, wow.
Trying to get a warehouse.
Wow.
But yes.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is. I love it. I always wanted it to be in my house, but thankfully we have grown too big, and
Yeah.
it is air-conditioned units. I don't make anyone work outside.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So then, so it's kind of like your office.
Yes.
So you do go. So you're that big that
Yes.
you go to the office.
Yes.
Wow, that's really exciting.
Yes, I love it. God has just blessed us so much, and I hope I just keep following that path and not being, nope, this is it. This was my plan.
Right. And so what also too with your story, and I'm not sure if people really captured at the beginning when you shared that you were on a different path. That you actually, you became an attorney. You committed how many years of your life in studying? Because that's what you thought you wanted to do.
Yes, because I was like, oh, law, look at all the good I can do.
Yes, which you can.
Yes, you can, and I am so
Yes.
grateful for them.
Yes.
But for me, I wanted more interpersonal.
Right.
I'm a very talkative person.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed when I had that storefront, the one-on-one with my customers every day. Like, we would have some ladies who they were having a really rough day, and their happy place was just to come wander our aisles because they just felt such love, and that just made my heart so happy.
Right. Well, so I love that, because I think a lot of us sometimes we started out doing something in the past and we invested so much time that we feel like we need to stay there, and then we end up being miserable. And so I hear you saying, hey, it didn't work out for me, and that's okay, because God can use anything and everything. And I'm sure in your business you've used that attorney mind.
It does help.
It does help. Yeah. Just how everything you were trained to do and to think things through and all of that stuff and to reach out. So,
yes. But like my mom would always tell me, education is never wasted.
Exactly.
So you tried something and you didn't like it, but you will always have those experiences and you will always have that knowledge. Why keep suffering just because, well, I already paid so much money and I paid so much time? You did, but look how much you've already learned and grown. Go learn something new and grow in a different way.
Right.
Well, you need to have that satisfaction and that love, and you do have that once you find your purpose. Once you are where God wants you to be, that's when you have the joy.
Right. The true authentic joy. So, hey, we're not telling you go quit your job right now.
No. not yet.
Right, not yet. But I think there's something to say about really being prayerful and
Yes.
wherever we are in our season. I'm retired just recently, and so now my new season is, okay, Lord, how do you want to use me now?
Yes.
Although I was really passionate about my previous career, I felt like God wanted me to be there, but now I'm like, okay, where do you want me now, Lord, so I can really do your work? So if you're in a season right now that you're feeling like, oh, this is not bringing me joy, just really connect and be prayerful with the Lord.
Yes.
And talk to somebody about it, if it's your spouse or a best friend, or reach out to one of us and really process where you're at, because true joy does come when we're living authentically for the Lord. And I think he's all called us for a higher purpose, and when we allow ourselves to fall in line with what he wants us to do, then he takes care of everything else. But it is scary.
And oftentimes it takes a few tries and a
Yes, I
few
love
different attempts to be like, I think this was there. Nope, that feeling still isn't right.
Right.
Let's go learn something new. It's always learning and growing. It's never, I really regret that.
Right. And yes, and what I like about what we just said too is that's a peak. Always looking
Always.
at, in the times, even when we're struggling a bit, there's a peak there somewhere along the line. Because our last series last spring, we talked about the valleys and when the Lord would pull us out of the valleys. But now we want to be deliberate and intentional in our day-to-day living to find the peaks.
Yes.
And sometimes we get so used to just the day-to-day, right? We have running water, we have electricity, we have cars, we forget, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord, because there's so many people that don't have that.
I know.
So just really being intentional and praising the Lord in day-to-day life.
It changes your outlook on everything. Instead of
Yes.
I have to cook dinner again. Thank you that I have food to cook.
Yes.
And I have to even remind myself of that.
Yeah, so do I. Yes. Oh, I get to do the dishes again.
I get to. That's
to do
the key
dishes
phrase
again.
right there. It changes everything in how you look at it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to wrap up now, Summer. So is there any last minute things that you want to share with us that you haven't shared with us so far?
I think I've really shared my heart on this. I want for you to honor those feelings inside of you. I want you to trust the way that God speaks to you. It's not always in the stomach area like me. Some people, I have friends who truly hear a voice, or they see these pictures, this is where I need to be, almost a vision board that just appears in your mind. Trust it, pray on it, because God will not lead you astray, no matter how scary it is to take that jump. He'll get you to that peak.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Summer, for sharing your peak. And what an amazing story. What an amazing peak.
It really, I am so grateful every day.
Yes, that's so awesome. So thank you. So ladies, again, thank you for joining us. And again, if you need to find us on, if you're watching us on podcast, just go to Central Women Podcast and then follow us. So every time that we launch a new episode, it'll come right up into your podcast area. And then also for YouTube, if you go to Central Women YouTube and follow us, then or subscribe to us, then they'll pop up as well, so you don't ever have to search for us. And so we're grateful that you're here with us today. And I do want to close out with a Psalms, and that's Psalm 121, 1 through 2. And it says, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. So ladies, as you're going through your day, please intentionally thank the Lord wherever you're at, and he will certainly be there for you at all times. So again, thank you for joining us, Summer, and ladies, thank you, and we'll see you next time.